Happy New Year, everybody! The first chapter of Fortnite: The Apocalypse for 2026 is officially out with chapter 220, and this was a really big chapter, not only setting up fully the arc as it begins full swing, like I wasn't really expecting it to, but this is probably the most unique chapter in the entire run, and I don't even think Nakba has done this in his previous series, but this whole chapter has no dialogue whatsoever. He's letting the art tell the story, most likely because we already know the baseline information and setup for the interactions here. It probably doesn't want to just shower us with a bunch of exposition retelling us what we already know is coming. And I think it is all the better for it, because based on just how characters react, what we see in this chapter, there is a lot to dive into, surprisingly enough. Will this be a shorter chapter review than normal? Maybe, but who knows? I could also make this 30 minutes if I really dig deep into everything, for all I know. So we'll just have to wait and see. Before we dig deep into this chapter and the start of this big conflict for the future of 2026, surprisingly enough in this series, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and hype the video. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. I am right about to hit 35k subscribers at the point of me recording the video. So one of my New Year's resolutions and goals is to make it to at least 50k subscribers. Big goal is 100k. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it would be very awesome if that did. And I would really appreciate the help and support, because I got a lot of plans for 2026. For not just this channel, but also my second channel, GW Comics, where I talk about comic books. I've got a lot of stuff that I've been reading on the side as well, that I'm planning to make videos on a little over time, so go over there for some comic book related content. It's a lot of fun, it's a passion project, and I really appreciate if you guys go and check it out. Link to that will be in the title card and the description down below. Now with that long intro out of the way, let's just jump straight into this chapter. Chapter 220 of Fortnite: The Apocalypse, titled The Signal to Rise Up, and the cover image is, rightfully, the remaining members of the 7 deadly sins all together. Yeah, Meliodas, Spawn, Gother, King, and Diane. I like how King is just sitting on Diane's head. It's kind of adorable at this point. But still, this is a really nice image, and I'm still kind of glad that the sins are all together once more. Now again, this chapter has no dialogue, so we're going to have to refer to everything based off of the images. We start off in Leonus in the dead of night, as we see Thetis in the top of the castle as she begins to chant a spell with a bunch of runes appearing around her. We then see inside the castle as we're seeing people get ready for the oncoming conflict. We have Gilthunder and Hauser together with Gareth, Balin, and Diodora, as they hand Diodora some chained up box. I feel like this is a Pandora's box reference. I would really like this if this box has some key to helping with Ironside's spirits, for all we know, and dealing with that. I don't think they're going to give this to Diodora unless it was incredibly important. This is definitely going to be elaborated on as this arc progresses. But not only that, Diodora is simply going to fight alongside Balin and Gareth. Gareth is in the same outfit that he's in previously, but Balin has more Holy Knight-esque armor, so I'm looking forward to see Balin fight going forward. But we also see Isolde off on the side, looking at the 3 of them, together with the head Holy Knight and Gilthunder. It's then that Escanor and Merlin, obviously in their, forms that they are in right now, go over to her as Escanor places his hand on her shoulder, as he's basically meeting his niece for the very first time. Really want to see that interaction when she realizes that her uncle is not only a former member of the 7 Deadly Sins, but he's dead and his soul is stuck in a puppet-like machine thing, which is kind of funny, and also that she's cousins with Gawain. I want to look forward to that. But this also answers the question that a lot of us have had, that the last couple of chapters, ever since the end of the festival arc, where have Diodora and Isolde been? And the answer seems to be they've kind of been in Leonus, just chilling, I guess, after everything that's been going on. So, alright, at least we got acknowledgement for that. But we keep going with the preparations, as Gila goes on to the rest of the Holy Knights, apprentices and full-fledged Holy Knights, and getting them pumped up for the oncoming assault and fight against Camelot. Palio shows up and gets Boris pumped up for the oncoming fight, as they look over and we see teams Tristan and Percival all together, with brand new outfits that I legitimately think, at least for Isolde and On, are much better than their previous outfits. Then again, I prefer Isolde's outfit back during the tournament arc because it actually looked kind of cool, and also helped with the fact that she is meant to move around a lot and have a lot of swinging power. The armor is nice, looks very protective. It's definitely better than her pre-time skip design, so all's well that ends well. Ann's does look a lot more regal and knightly, even though I also prefer her previous outfit to this one. This one still looks a lot better. I think her second best outfit in this entire series. Nazian's looks fine, just there's not much you can do with the character for armor, if anything, but helps with the whole herbalist aesthetic that Nazian's is known for, and she's got the bag for all of her medicines and poisons that she will need to use. Donnie's doesn't seem all that impressive, I guess. It's just the coat, mostly. Probably should have stuck to his previous design, but it is what it is. But he's also arguing with his shield. I keep forgetting that his Sacred Treasure class item is basically a automatically protective shield that just talks annoyingly to him. And lastly, Keon is actually communicating with his 4 elemental spirits. Keon's looks more like a Lancelot-esque shirt from what it seems. It's not. I don't have a great look at it. I think it's fine. I think I might prefer it a bit more than his tournament arc design, but I need to see, in terms of the outfit, a much better look at it. We then cut to Old Man Bartra with Elizabeth and Slater looking after him as always, and we cut back to Thetis as she is finishing her massive, basically countrywide magic spell. We see the giant magic circle finally completed, as we then cut over to Camelot. As in a full double page spread over the course of a couple of panels, we see Cath disguised as Arthur still pulling up the act in a massive crowd of his loyal subjects cheering him on, as he's also escorted by the 4 Perils. As we also look over to a singular panel as we see Elva, the girl from Chapter 2 from the circus troupe that Donnie was a part of after he quit being a holy knight, who met Percival, the first people that Percival ever met. So it turns out, this whole time, she somehow ended up in Camelot over these last 2 years. Still looks exactly the same as 2 years ago, so guess wasn't important enough for her to be redesigned at all. But what's interesting is that she has her arms around Donnie pre-time skip. Yeah, turns out her in Camelot, the one person that she cares about the most and wants in Camelot is Donnie, which is kind of interesting, and it shows that beforehand she had feelings for the guy. So I guess now we know who Donnie might end up with at the end of the series. That is a strong possibility. This might be Nakba's way of being like, okay, I shipped everybody else in the main cast, save for Gawain, but for all we know, the Balance thing could happen, or find somebody else. Donnie is the only one who is basically not around, and Keon will probably die alone. Gotta give Donnie at least a chance, or at least somebody out there that would want to be with him. So, we got Elva. Okay, nice, it's a character we already know and are familiar with to a degree, so not bad. But what's interesting is she's wearing the nice amulet charm that Lancelot, when he was disguised in Camelot, was handing out to a bunch of different citizens as well. And it's in that instance, since the spell was activated, Elva is teleported out of Camelot, to the confusion of Cath and the citizens around them, but it's then that the Camelot Donnie begins to disappear. Since Elva isn't there, Camelot has no need to create the hyper-realistic illusion, which to the rest of Camelot, they are in shock and horror. But then, all of the actual people of Camelot, the actual real-life citizens, get teleported away thanks to this whole magic spell. And it's then the Camelot illusions begin to disappear and turn to dust. And what's interesting is that one of them is a mother who's holding a baby, which implies that she lost her child, and then, the illusion disappears. And even more of these illusions' loved ones are disappearing. And Cath is in utter shock. As the next page, we actually get to see all of the people in the crowd gone, either teleported away or the Camelot illusions completely dissipating. As the town is completely empty, leaving only him, his horse, and the 4 Perils. But the next page is what makes things interesting, as once everyone's gone, the entire town and area begins to collapse. Before Cath falls down a hole with his horse, he jumps up into the air. But when he does, he sees that Camelot has more or less completely disappeared, or at least this one town has disappeared, leaving only scraps of land floating in the area. And in rage, Cath begins to shapeshift, and in a singular page we see him roar in his true form. Now this is just absolutely insane to see, because it shows that not only does Camelot create illusions of people, Camelot created these towns not just from the land stolen from Britannia, but from the people that came there. Without the people in Camelot, the grand hyper-realistic illusion no longer works. And thus, the towns and everything are beginning to disappear, and there's nothing holding it together save for Cath, and basically what he has warped from Britannia himself, like his castle or specific lands, which is insane. And this also, once more, confirms one more thing that I've kind of had, and many others have kind of considered, with Cath and Arthur being split up now, is that Cath doesn't really have the power of creation from chaos, just being able to warp and like cast this hyper-realistic illusion, or at least has a halfway form of creation. It shows since all of Camelot has not been fully created by him, and he had to steal land from Britannia. But now that the people are gone with this massive spell, for all we know, a good chunk of the land might have also returned now as well, since they would be linked to the people. That is an insane thing to show just from the panels alone. Granted, I feel like in the final volume release, Nagba might adjust the artwork to show this in a bit more higher detail, at least to a degree, when the townspeople are disappearing. But after this, we then cut to Elva and a random citizen as they wonder where they are as they are back in Britannia. Now this is another page where I think that, well, the final volume release will give extra details because it just is less detailed and not really very colored, to at least for a lot of the characters. It just seems unfinished, obviously. Nagba definitely had to meet a deadline for this chapter, so the extra detail and inking was not fully done. But once all the citizens are in Leonus, it seems, Thetis passes out as she used up all of her powers in order to bring everyone from Camelot that had an amulet to Leonus. Hauser quickly gets on the scene, trying to get all the citizens away. But it's then Meliodas looks up into the sky, Bon right beside him, with King Diane and Gotha ready to face down the imminent threat, as in a full-page spread, and this is where a good chunk of the detail comes from, a massive portal in the sky opens up with the Sins looking up. As coming out from it is Arthur and the Four Perils in a beautiful double-page spread, showcasing them just walking out of this portal. And the final page of the chapter is Meliodas and Cath staring down. And that is the end of the chapter. Honestly, I like chapters that do this, relying on the artwork and the characters without any dialogue to tell the story. Based off of just the illustrations, we were able to tell what was going on, what happened, and now we're in basically what could be considered the end game of the story, or at least for this saga of Four Knights of the Apocalypse. Because now we have officially begun the conflict between the Sins and Cath with the Four Perils, with all the Holy Knights ready and waiting to help in the fight, but they also have to evacuate all the citizens, obviously. Now, Cath brought his Four Perils. For all we know, he's going to bring more Chaos Knights if they weren't teleported away as well, which I do kind of doubt. But still, it is a crazy thing that this plan went off seemingly without a hitch, and it really did a good job of just stunning Cath for a second, but he instantly knew that Leonus was responsible and just teleported there instantly with his elite knights. And with teams Tristan and Percival in Leonus ready to help in the fight and most likely the evacuation, this fully confirms what we all thought of last chapter, and that is the Four Knights of the Apocalypse, the title characters, are going off on their own for the first time ever on a solo mission, which, since we left things off this chapter, the next couple of chapters will either be the beginning of this onslaught on Leonus with the forces of Cath against the Sins, while the Four Knights are going off on their own secret mission to find Merlin and what they'll later find out to be the true Arthur. Now, based off of this, we are back at the start of the time skip, essentially, with Guinevere's future vision of the Sins facing down Cath. Now, in that vision, it seemed like the Sins have been defeated and Bon would be dead. So there is still a lot to really consider, and I'm wondering if things will go exactly as planned or exactly as foretold. Things are going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this. We're going to get a lot of action in these next couple of chapters. I know it. I can tell just from this. But I also can't wait to see how the journey of the Four Knights is going to be, since what it seems like a good chunk of Camelot disappeared along with its people. So I want to see how things end up panning out with them. Also, kind of sad that Thetis is now out for the count, at least for a while after using that big spell. We haven't really seen her fight, but for all we know, she might have her moment later on in the series. But you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions on this chapter in the comments section down below. What are you looking forward to in this fight? Who do you think the Sins will survive at the end of the day? Do you think someone's going to die? What do you think is going to happen with the side cast that we've gotten so far? What was in Theodora's box? And how do you expect the Four Knights solo mission to go? Let me know down below. And once more, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos, and hype the video to help boost it in the algorithm. All that helps a ton, and hopefully this channel gets towards the 50,000 subscriber goal by the end of the year, and we get even closer to that massive milestone of 100K. But that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have an awesome day.